The second sun of Valora Prime was sinking behind the mountains when the alarm started. The quiet alien colony, built on green sand and silver stone, suddenly filled with red flashing lights. Sirens echoed across the valley. Raiders were coming. Valorians had faced raiders before, but today felt different. Today the sky itself looked nervous, dark clouds, strange winds, a silent tension no one could explain. Elder Tira, leader of the colony, ran onto the balcony of the command tower. Her 4 eyes widened as she saw burning shapes falling from the atmosphere. Some were raider ships. But one object was different. A small metal capsule was dropping fast, trailing blue fire. "What is that?" one guard asked. Tira stared hard. "I do not know, but it comes from deep space." The capsule hit the ground far beyond the colony wall, sending a shockwave through the sand. The raiders were still minutes away, so Tira made her choice. "Send a team," she ordered. "Find that object before the raiders do." The crash site. A group of Valorians rushed across the valley, weapons ready, hearts racing. The ground was cracked from the impact. Smoke rose in a tall black column. As they got closer, they saw markings on the capsule, strange letters they didn't recognize. The youngest soldier, Relon, stepped forward carefully. He placed his hand on the metal surface. It was warm, almost alive. "Tira," he said over comms, "the pod is human-made." Everyone went silent. Humans were myths, old stories, legends told to children. There were no real humans left in the galaxy. That was what everyone believed. Relon opened the hatch and steam hissed out. Inside, a body lay still, covered in a torn black suit with a red symbol on the chest. A human. A real one. Blood ran from a wound on his forehead. His breathing was faint and broken. Relon whispered, "He's dying." "Bring him," Tira said immediately, even though she knew the risk. Any living being deserves help. They lifted the human out. He was heavier than he looked, muscle strong even in weakness. A strange device on his wrist glowed faintly, blinking blue. "Is it a weapon?" one Valorian asked nervously. "I don't know," Relon replied. "But it's active." They hurried back toward the colony. The raiders arrived. As they reached the gates, the sky lit up with explosions. Raider ships broke through the clouds, firing hot red beams at the colony's shields. Tira's voice came through the speakers. "All guards to defense stations. Protect the walls." The raiders were a brutal species, metal exoskeletons, burning eyes, and a hunger for slaves. They attacked without mercy. But inside the healing chamber, the human lay still, unaware of the danger around him. He was young, maybe mid-20s, with short dark hair and scars on his arms. The Valorian healer scanned him with soft blue light. "His body is strong," she said. "Stronger than any species I have seen. But he is hurt badly." The human's eyes moved under his eyelids. He whispered something. Relon leaned closer. The human breathed, "Don't let them take me." Relon's eyes widened. "He can speak our language?" "No," the healer said. "He is speaking your language. His translator is working." The beacon. Suddenly, the human's wrist device lit up brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. The beep, beep, beep. A hologram projected above the device. A map of the galaxy appeared with a single blinking point. The healer stepped back. "What is that?" The device made a low humming sound. Energy waves pulsed outward. "It's sending a signal," Relon said slowly. "A beacon." "To who?" the healer asked. Relon swallowed hard. "To humans." The human wakes. An explosion shook the healing room. Dust fell from the ceiling. The colony shields were cracking. Raider bombs kept hammering the walls. The human's eyes opened. Deep brown. Sharp. Focused. He sat up suddenly, grabbing Relon's arm with surprising strength. "Where am I?" he asked, voice rough. "You are safe," Relon said, trying to calm him. "We found you. You crashed on Valora Prime." The human looked around, confused. He studied his surroundings, breathing heavily. "Valora?" he whispered. "That means I'm far from Earth." Tira entered the room. She looked at him with fear and curiosity. "I am Elder Tira. We mean you no harm." The human stared at her for a long moment. His eyes softened. "Thank you for saving me." "What is your name?" she asked. "Jackson," he replied. "Sergeant Jackson Hale." Tira nodded. "Well, Sergeant Jackson, we will protect you." Before she could finish, Jackson grabbed his wrist device. The beacon was glowing like a small star. His face turned pale. "What have you done?" he whispered. Relon frowned. "What do you mean?" Jackson's voice broke into a mixture of shock and fear. That signal, it doesn't just call for help. It alerts Earth's war fleet. Everyone froze. War fleet. Tira repeated. Why would Earth send an army? Jackson looked at them with serious eyes. Because you saved me. And humans always repay a debt. A thunderous blast echoed outside. The colony shield collapsed. The raiders cheered. But inside the healing room, a different fear spread. If the signal truly reached Earth, what would happen next? The raiders' attack shook the entire colony. Buildings trembled, lights flickered, and the sound of explosions echoed through every hallway. But inside the healing chamber, everything was silent, except for the humans' heavy breathing. Sergeant Jackson Hale sat on the edge of the medical bed, holding his injured side. Relon stood nearby, unsure how to help him. You should rest, Relon said gently. Jackson shook his head. No time. The beacon is active. Earth will come fast. Tira entered, her expression sharp and filled with worry. We gave you shelter, she said, but now your presence may bring more danger. Jackson met her gaze. I know, and I'm sorry. Humans don't leave their people behind. When they receive this signal, they will come with everything they have. Tira's hands tightened around her staff. What? Why send warships for one single man? Jackson answered without hesitation. Because humans protect their own. That is our way. The elders speak. Tira called for an emergency council meeting. The elders gathered in a circular chamber, their robes glowing softly in the dim light. Relon escorted Jackson inside. Some elders stared at him with fear. Others whispered old stories under their breath. One elder, tall and thin, stepped forward. I remember ancient tales, he said. Stories of humans, warriors of fire. They did not run from war. They brought war to those who harmed them. Another elder nodded. My grandmother said humans were the most loyal species in the galaxy, but also the most dangerous. Jackson stood silently as they spoke, his face unreadable. It was said, the first elder continued, if you save a human, they repay you with blood and steel. Jackson finally spoke. Those stories are true. The chamber fell quiet. Fear grows in the colony. Outside, the colony struggled to recover. The shields were half broken. Homes were damaged. Families hid in underground shelters, afraid the raiders would return. Now they had a new fear too. What would happen when humans arrived? Word spread fast. Humans are coming. Their armies will fill the sky. Maybe they will destroy us too. But others whispered something different. Maybe humans will save us. Maybe they will drive the raiders away forever. Hope and fear mixed like storm clouds over Valora Prime. Jackson's memories. Later, Relon found Jackson sitting alone near the observation window. The night sky glowed with soft blue stars. Relon sat next to him. You seem troubled, he said. Jackson let out a long breath. I never meant to drag your people into this. I didn't know the beacon would activate. Why did it? Relon asked. Jackson touched the device on his wrist. This beacon is tied to my heart rate. If I'm badly injured, it turns on. Relon nodded slowly. So, when you crashed, it sent the signal? Yes, Jackson said. Straight to Earth command. He looked out the window again. Back home we have a rule. If one soldier disappears, we search. If one soldier is hurt, we respond. If one soldier is saved. Jackson paused, voice growing softer. We repay that kindness 100 times over. Relon's eyes widened. So when Earth arrives, they won't harm us? Jackson shook his head firmly. No. You saved my life. That means Earth will protect yours. Strange energy in the sky. Late that evening, the colony sensors detected something unusual. A faint, distant pulse of energy. Small, soft, almost harmless, but repeating every few seconds. The technician frowned. This pattern, it's not natural. Tira leaned closer. It comes from deep space? Yes, Elder. Very far. But moving fast. The technician tapped the console again. This frequency matches only one known signature in our archives. Tira's eyes darkened. Human hyperspace engines. A shiver went through the room. Relon whispered, Earth is already on the way? Tira nodded. Yes. And at a speed no other species can travel. Enemies return. Before anyone could react, alarms rang again. The raiders had returned, this time with more ships. Their leader appeared on the colony's holoscreen. His voice crackled deep and harsh. Valorians, we know you have the human. Hand him over now and we will let you live. Tira stepped forward. We will not surrender someone we saved. The raider laughed. Foolish creatures. Do you even understand what a human truly is? The signal they send will bring destruction to all of you. Jackson stood beside Tira, meeting the raider's eyes. Then you should run, Jackson said coldly. Because when Earth arrives, you won't survive. The raider snarled. Then we attack now. The screen went dark. Moments later, laser fire rained down from the sky. The fight begins again. The colony walls shook. Buildings cracked. Valorian guards scrambled into position. Relon pulled Jackson behind cover. You're still injured. Stay back. Jackson lifted a stolen raider energy blade. I can still fight. Relon stared shocked. You humans, you really never give up. Jackson smiled faintly through the pain. We don't leave our friends behind. A shadow in space. As the battle grew worse, as the raiders overwhelmed the colony, something happened far above the sky. A tear, long and bright, opened in space. Blue light spilled out. Thunder rolled across the atmosphere. Valorians, raiders, even Jackson looked up. Relon whispered the words everyone felt. That's not natural, that's someone coming through. Another tear opened. Then another. Dozens. Tira stepped outside, her breath shaking. Jackson, is that? Jackson looked into the glowing sky and nodded. Yes. His voice was calm. Almost relieved. Earth is here. The sky of Valora Prime tore open like thin cloth as bright blue rifts spread across the stars. Every creature on the planet, Valorian or raider, paused to stare upward. From those rifts came a deep hum, powerful, steady, impossible to ignore. A sound no one on Valora had heard in centuries. The sound of human hyperspace engines. Relon whispered, unable to look away. They're arriving. Humans are really coming. Sergeant Jackson Hale stood with difficulty, holding his side, staring into the sky with fierce eyes. He said only one thing. Now the raiders should be afraid. Raiders panic. The raider leader, Kargith, watched the rifts open with rising terror. He shouted into his comms. Retreat formation. Prepare to leave this cursed planet. But his lieutenants froze. One said, voice shaking. Commander, those aren't normal ships. A second later, enormous shadows emerged through the rifts. Massive warships made of silver metal and blue armor, glowing with energy. The lead ship alone was larger than the raiders' entire base. Kargitha's red eyes widened. No, this cannot be real. But it was. The raiders began screaming as the first wave of human dreadnoughts pushed through hyperspace. Valorians prepare for the worst. Inside the colony, Tira and the elders watched the sky with mixed feelings. Hope and fear twisted together in their hearts. One elder whispered, if they come to punish us. Tira shook her head. If that was their goal, we would already be dead. She turned to Jackson. What will they do when they see us? Jackson answered honestly. That depends on how they see you. But you saved me, so they will protect you. Relon nodded. We trust you, Jackson. You're one of us now. Jackson gave a small smile, but his eyes stayed serious. You will see the true power of humans soon. Just stay close to me. The beacon reaches its target. In orbit above the planet, human ships took positions with perfect discipline. Their engines hummed like a single giant heartbeat. On the bridge of the flagship Earth's Valor, Admiral Rhea Orion stood tall. Her voice was sharp and calm. Beacon confirmed. Sergeant Jackson Hale's signal is active on the surface. Deploy rescue teams. Prepare orbital weapons. Officers moved quickly. Admiral, enemy ships detected, Raider class. Rhea's expression hardened. They dared to harm a human? Her voice dropped lower, colder. Prepare to eliminate them. The Raiders strike first. Back on the ground, Kargith realized he had only one chance, to strike before the humans fully deployed. Attack, he roared. Destroy the colony. Kill the human. Dozens of Raider ships rained fire again. Explosions shook the buildings. Valorian guards struggled to hold positions. Jackson grabbed a fallen blaster from a guard and fired at Raiders closing in. Relon yelled, "You're still injured." Jackson grinned through the pain. Then they should fight someone else. He moved with surprising speed, shooting Raiders one by one. Even wounded, he fought harder than 3 Valorians combined. Inside the smoke and fire, Tira watched him. One human, and he fights like an army. Sudden silence. Then everything stopped. No gunfire. No shouting. No explosions. Just a heavy, unnatural silence. Everyone turned toward the sky. A huge shadow covered the valley. The air vibrated. Sand lifted from the ground in waves. Jackson breathed. They're here. And then, boom. A human dreadnought descended from the clouds, its engines roaring like thunder. Blue energy pulsed beneath it, lighting up the entire canyon. Valorians and raiders both fell to the ground from the shockwave. The human ship hovered above the colony, its weapons glowing with deadly power. The voice from the sky. A deep, metallic voice came from the dreadnought's speakers, echoing across the land. This is Earth Command. You have harmed one of our own. Cease all attacks or face destruction. Every raider froze. No one dared move. Kargith dropped his weapon, his hands shaking. It's too late, they found him. Human Marines arrive. Blue beams of light shot down from the dreadnought. Human Marines teleported into the colony, tall, armored soldiers with black suits and glowing visors. They moved in perfect formation. Their leader stepped forward. Sergeant Jackson Hale. Earth Command received your distress signal. Jackson saluted. Reporting, sir. Valorians saved my life. I request protection for their colony. The Marine commander nodded. As you wish. They saved a human. Earth repays the debt. He turned toward the raiders. Target all hostile forces. The raiders panic. Kargith screamed. Retreat. Run. Escape. Some raiders tried to flee. But they were too slow. Human Marines fired non-lethal shock rounds, disabling their weapons and armor instantly. One raider shouted in fear. They fight like machines. How do we stop them? Kargith finally realized the truth. You don't. A debt repaid begins. As the Marines secured the colony, Admiral Rhea Orion herself descended in a command shuttle. Tall, calm, and powerful, she stepped toward Jackson. You survived, she said. Thanks to them, Jackson replied, pointing to Tira and the Valorians. Rhea looked at the aliens, her eyes softening slightly. You protected a human without fear. That is rare. She lifted her hand. And for that, Earth will protect you. Valorians gasped, some cried in relief. Tira bowed her head. We only did what was right. Rhea nodded. And now Earth will do the same. Behind her, the human war fleet continued to pour from hyperspace. A sign that the true battle, and the true repayment, was only beginning. The small village of Valari was never meant to be part of something so big. It was a quiet settlement on the outer arm of the Zelkan Republic, far from trade routes, far from danger, and far from anything important. Yet now, every villager felt the weight of something impossible pressing down on them. Aaron, the lost human they had rescued, lay inside the healer's house. His wounds had almost fully closed, his breathing was strong, and his eyes were alert again. He no longer looked like a dying traveler. He looked like someone preparing for something huge, but no one in the village understood what that something was. Not yet. A strange device awakens. On the morning of the fourth day, Elder Vexa entered the healer's house and found Aaron awake, sitting upright, holding a metallic object the size of his palm. The device looked broken, but small lights blinked on its surface. Vexa froze. Is that dangerous? She asked carefully. Aaron shook his head slowly. No. It's a beacon. I wasn't sure it still worked. A beacon. For what? The elder asked. Aaron took a long breath, as if deciding whether to tell the truth. For home, he said quietly. It sends a distress call to Earth. Silence filled the room. The healer, Rhina, nearly dropped her tools. The villagers had heard rumors about humans. Some called them myths, some called them ghosts from an old age. No one believed humans were real until Aaron arrived. And now, the human had just said something even more shocking. He had contacted his people. The distress signal echoes. The beacon released a soft pulse, like a heartbeat made of light. Pulse. 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 Aaron stared at it with a mixture of relief and fear. If the signal goes through, he whispered, they will come. Rhina swallowed. Who will come? Other humans. Aaron nodded. Yes. And they won't send a small ship. They'll send a fleet. This time, Elder Vexa did drop the small wooden bowl she was holding. A fleet? Why a fleet? We only helped you. There is no danger here. Aaron's expression turned dark. That's not how Earth responds. If a human is lost, taken, injured, or threatened, Earth answers. Hard. His voice held a quiet power that made both aliens step back. Aaron wasn't boasting. He was warning them. Panic spreads through the village. Word spread fast. The human called his warriors. Earth is coming. What if they think we captured him? What if they attack us? For the first time, fear filled the peaceful village. Some wanted to hide Aaron. Some wanted to send him away. Some wanted to destroy the beacon. But Elder Vexa silenced all arguments. We saved him, she declared. And we will stand by that choice. No matter who arrives. Her voice trembled a little, but she stayed strong. Aaron listened from the healer's doorway, guilt growing inside him. He had not meant to bring danger to these kind people. He had only wanted a chance to go home. But now, he wasn't sure Earth would understand the situation. Earth was protective. Overprotective. Aaron's past revealed. That night, Aaron sat outside the healer's hut, staring at the stars. Elder Vexa joined him quietly. You fear your own people, she said softly. Aaron didn't look away from the sky. I don't fear them, he answered. I fear what they will do for me. Vexa waited silently, encouraging him to continue. Aaron took a slow breath. Long ago, the human race was pushed to near extinction by hostile alien empires. We survived because we united, grew stronger, and swore never to lose a human again. Not even one. That is why they will come for you? Vexa asked. Aaron nodded. They will come because they think I might be in danger. And humans don't take chances with their own. Vexa closed her eyes. This galaxy, it will change when they arrive, won't it? Aaron finally looked at her. Yes, it will. A light appears in the sky. Just before dawn, the villagers gathered on the cliffs overlooking the valley. Something shimmered in the dark sky, something bright, something unnatural, something terrifying. A thin white streak appeared among the stars. Then another. Then a third. Aaron stood at the front, his heart pounding. They're here, he whispered. The beacon in his hand blinked rapidly. The streaks grew larger, brighter, forming massive shapes in orbit. Colossal shadows passed across the faint morning light. Warships. Human warships. But they did not look like any alien design the villagers had ever seen. Sharp edges. Black armor. Lines of blue energy glowing like living veins. A silent formation of impossible size. Elder Vexa stepped back, trembling. This is Earth's answer to saving one human? Aaron swallowed. They don't send small help. The morning sky above the village was no longer blue. It was filled with enormous shapes, human warships, blocking out the sunlight like metal giants. Their armored hulls glowed with blue energy lines, and their engines hummed with a deep power the villagers had never heard before. Every alien in Valari stood frozen. Some hid behind houses. Some clutched their children. Some simply stared, unable to understand what they were seeing. No one had imagined humans were capable of this. No one had imagined humans were real until one showed up injured. And now, an entire fleet had come because of that single human. Aaron stood at the front of the cliff, staring up at the sky he had missed for so long. He had wanted rescue. But he had not wanted this. Not such force. Not such overwhelming power. A voice that carried authority. A deep human voice thundered from the sky again, shaking dust from the cliff edges. Surface settlement, respond. A human distress signal originated from your location. Identify yourselves. Elder Vexa stepped forward, her long robes shaking from the cold fear. She held up a communicator, old, cracked but still working. Her voice trembled. This is Elder Vexa of the Valari village. We mean no harm. We found the human injured. We only helped him. Silence. Then the voice answered, calmer but still powerful. State the human's condition. Aaron took the communicator gently from her. This is Aaron Hale, he said. His voice was steady. Alive. Safe. Not in danger. The entire village looked at him in fear and hope. Another long moment passed. Then, Aaron Hale. Confirmed. Status verified. Earth War Fleet now entering Protection Protocol. Protection Protocol? Aaron's eyes widened. Oh no. The fleet descends. The clouds above ripped open as a massive command ship emerged from orbit. It was colossal, large enough to cast a shadow across the valley. Smaller escort ships circled it like armored birds. The ground shook as a landing craft detached and came down toward the village. Villagers backed away. Some cried. Some fell to their knees. This was not a rescue. This was a display of absolute human power. Aaron felt a mix of relief and guilt burning inside him. I never wanted them to frighten you, he whispered to Vexa. But Vexa shook her head. You are alive because of us. Whatever comes, we will face it. Human soldiers arrive. The landing craft set down with a hiss of steam and dust. A ramp lowered. Heavy footsteps echoed. Human soldiers marched out, tall, armored, and disciplined. Their black and blue armor carried Earth symbols the villagers had never seen before. Their helmets glowed faintly, scanning the area. At the front stood a commander, armor thicker, darker, marked with stars on the chest plate. His voice boomed across the plain. "Which of you provided aid to the human?" The villagers looked around nervously. No one moved. Then Elder Vexa stepped forward and the commander focused on her. "You led the rescue?" he asked. "I only did what was right," she replied softly. The commander didn't answer at first. He looked at Aaron, who nodded to show it was true. The commander took a breath. Then, he said, "Earth owes your people a debt." Gasps spread through the villagers. "A debt? From humans? From this mighty fleet?" A misunderstanding clears. More soldiers appeared, scanning the village but not attacking. Their movements were careful, professional, not aggressive. The villagers slowly realized something surprising. The humans were not here to punish anyone. They were here to ensure no one had harmed Aaron. Aaron stepped toward the commander. "They saved me," he said firmly. "They treated me, fed me, protected me. Without them, I would not be alive." The commander nodded. "Then this village is under Earth's protection until the situation is fully secure." Vex's eyes widened. "Earth is protecting us?" The commander's expression softened slightly. "You saved one of ours. We do not forget such things." Villagers whispered among themselves, fear slowly turning into shock, and maybe respect. But not everyone was calm. From the far side of the landing field, a group of Valari hunters slowly raised their weapons. They were afraid the humans might take their home or force them into something. Aaron noticed immediately. "Commander," he warned softly. Human soldiers turned instantly, raising shields. The villagers panicked. The air crackled with tension, seconds from disaster. Elder Vexa rushed forward. "Stop," she shouted. "Everyone stop. No one will fight. Not today." Her voice rang out with authority. The hunters lowered their weapons first. Then the human soldiers lowered theirs. A crisis avoided. Barely. But the commander looked at Aaron with a meaningful expression. "You see," he said. "This is why Earth responds with strength. The galaxy is unpredictable." Aaron couldn't argue. Promise made. As the sun set behind the mountains, the commander gathered the villagers. "Earth is grateful," he announced, "for saving a human life. And we do not ignore such acts." He pointed to the sky, where hundreds of human ships hovered silently. "We came because we protect our own. And now, we will protect you too." For the first time since the humans arrived, some of the villagers smiled. Aaron stood in the fading light, watching both sides, the mighty human fleet and the humble alien village. Two worlds had met. War could have happened. Fear almost caused chaos. But instead, a bond had formed. A powerful, unexpected bond. And the galaxy would soon learn what that bond meant. The night sky above Valari glowed with soft blue light from the human fleet. The villagers had stopped fearing the ships, but they still watched them with wide eyes. Some whispered. Some wondered if the humans would stay forever. Aaron stood beside Elder Vexa near the cliff. He felt stronger now, almost fully healed. But inside his chest, a heavy worry grew. Because he knew something the villagers did not. If Earth's signal reached their enemies, the real danger was coming. And as if the universe wanted to prove him right, alarms suddenly echoed across every human ship in orbit. A deep voice crackled through every communicator. "Emergency alert. Unknown fleet entering the system." Vexa froze. The villagers stared up in horror. Human soldiers instantly shifted into defensive positions. Aaron whispered the words he feared most. "They found us. The enemy returns." Above the planet, new shadows appeared, dark ships sharp like knives. Their armor glowed red and black. Their engines pulsed like angry hearts. It was the same species that first attacked Valari. But this time, they had brought an armada. More than 50 warships. Cruisers. Destroyers. Flagships with massive cannons. The enemy commander broadcast a message across the system. To the humans and the Valari. "Surrender the escaped human and your village will be spared. Fail, and your world burns." The villagers gasped. Several grabbed each other in fear. Human soldiers did not move. They stood like statues. Unshaken. Unafraid. And from the sky, a single human voice responded. "Earth does not surrender its people." The enemy fleet opened fire. The battle begins. The quiet night exploded. Blue and red beams lit up the sky. Human shields flared brilliantly as enemy fire smashed into them. Villagers ducked as shockwaves rippled across the ground. Some thought the world was ending. Human ships moved with perfect precision. Their cannons glowed and fired, each shot powerful enough to turn entire enemy ships into fireballs. Yet the enemy kept coming. Wave after wave. Screaming engines. Exploding metal. flashes of light that turned the valley bright as daytime. Aaron grabbed a fallen villager and dragged him to safety. "These people saved me," he shouted to a soldier nearby. "I will not hide while they fight." The soldier nodded. "You don't have to hide. Stay close. We defend together." The Valari fight back. The villagers, though terrified, refused to give up their home. Hunters grabbed their energy bows. Farmers picked up old rifles. Even children helped carry supplies. Elder Vexa raised her staff. "Valari," she shouted, "this is not only Earth's fight. It is ours too." The villagers roared back with courage they didn't know they had. Human soldiers looked at them with surprise and respect. The enemy lands. A massive enemy assault craft broke through the defense line and crashed near the village. Metal screeched. Fire burst from its engines. Hundreds of enemy soldiers poured out, weapons flashing red. Human ground troops charged forward to meet them. The clash shook the forest. Laser fire lit the darkness. Aaron joined the defenders, picking up a dropped enemy rifle. It felt heavy but familiar. A nearby soldier barked, "Hail! Stay behind cover." Aaron shook his head. "They didn't abandon me. I won't abandon them." He fired, hitting an enemy soldier who was aiming at a Valari child. Vexa watched with pride and fear. A turning point. Far above, the enemy flagship powered up a superweapon, huge, glowing, deadly. The human commander saw it instantly. If that weapon fires, the colony is gone. Target the flagship. Human ships formed a massive formation. Energy built inside their cannons. The air trembled as power surged. But the enemy weapon charged faster. Down below, Aaron felt something cold inside him. "We're running out of time." A human act that changed everything. Aaron looked at the enemy assault craft still burning behind the battle. Inside, a working shuttle. Small, fast, sacrificable. He sprinted toward it. Vexa saw him run. "Aaron, stop. What are you doing?" But it was too late. He jumped into the shuttle, hands shaking as he powered it up. He heard the human commander shouting through the comms. "Hail, stand down. Do not launch." But the shuttle already blasted into the sky like a comet. Aaron pushed the engines as hard as they could go. The shuttle rattled violently. Warning lights flashed red. He was aiming straight for the enemy flagship. The superweapon glowed brighter and brighter. Seconds remained. Aaron whispered, "For Valari. For Earth. For everyone who saved me." He turned off safety locks. The shuttle accelerated beyond safe limits. The enemy weapon was about to fire. Aaron slammed the shuttle directly into the glowing cannon. A blinding explosion ripped the sky open. The enemy flagship cracked apart and fell silent. The entire enemy fleet froze in shock. Human ships seized the moment and fired all weapons at once, destroying the attackers in a single overwhelming wave of power. The battle was over. Silence after the storm. The sky slowly cleared. The enemy fleet was gone. Human ships hovered victorious. Valari stood in ruins, but alive. Elder Vexa fell to her knees, tears rolling down her cheeks. "He saved us all." Human soldiers bowed their heads. Aaron Hale, the lost human, had given everything to protect both worlds. But the story was not finished, because Earth never leaves one of their own behind. And the humans were already preparing their next move. The sun rose slowly over Valari, shining through smoke and broken rooftops. The battle was over, but the price was heavy. Human soldiers walked through the village, helping wounded aliens, lifting fallen beams and clearing away rubble. Valari villagers worked beside them, handing tools, water, and medicine. For the first time, two species moved like one people. But there was a sadness in the air. A deep silence. A missing name. Aaron Hale. The human who saved them all. Elder Vexa looked up at the sky, where flames still floated from the destroyed enemy ships. Her heart felt heavy. "He gave his life for us," she whispered. Human Commander Rourke stood beside her, armor scratched and dusty from battle. His strong voice sounded softer than before. "He was brave," Rourke said. "Braver than most. But we do not consider him gone. Not yet." Vexa frowned. "What do you mean?" Rourke tapped his wrist pad. A hologram appeared. It showed the enemy flagship explosion, frame by frame. And inside the bright flash, something small escaped the core of the blast. "It's a drop pod," Rourke said. "A one-seat emergency capsule. Aaron must have activated it within the last second." Vexa gasped. "You mean, he might be alive?" Rourke nodded. "We don't lose people easily." A search begins. Across the skies, human drones spread out like metal birds. Scanner beams swept forests, oceans, and mountains. Human ships orbited silently, engines humming like deep thunder. Villagers gathered on rooftops and cliffs, watching with hope and fear. A small Valari child tugged on a soldier's armor. Is the human hero coming back? The soldier knelt beside him. We will find him. Earth always brings its people home. A signal in the dark. Hours passed. Then more hours. Day turned to night. Hope began to fade. Until a sharp beep echoed through the human command center. A location ping. Weak, but real. Life sign detected, a human technician shouted. The entire room froze. Human life form, matching Aaron Hale. Villagers standing nearby burst into cheers. Even human officers, usually calm and controlled, allowed themselves a smile. Commander Rourke slammed his fist on the table. Send a rescue team now. Within seconds, human dropships blasted off toward the northern mountains. Vexa whispered to herself. You came to repay a debt, and now we owe you one. Rescue at dawn. The dropship landed on a cliffside ledge. Human soldiers rushed out, scanning the rocky area. A broken escape pod lay half-buried under fallen stones. A medic shouted, "We've found him." Aaron was unconscious but breathing. His suit was torn, his face bruised, but his pulse was strong. When the medic touched his wrist, Aaron blinked open one eye. Did we win? The soldier laughed despite himself. Yes, Hale. We won. Aaron smiled weakly. Good. I promised we would. They carried him back to the dropship, the sun rising behind them like a victory banner. Two worlds united. When Aaron returned to Valari, the entire village gathered. Children ran forward. Adults bowed respectfully. Even the proud hunters stood with honor. Aaron looked embarrassed. You really didn't have to do all this. Vexa raised her staff. This village lives because of you. Your people saved us. And now you stand between our past and our future. Commander Rourke stepped forward. You risked your life for two worlds. Earth won't forget that. Rourke then turned to the villagers. From this day forward, Valari is an ally of Earth. Protected, respected, and never alone. The villagers cheered. Human soldiers saluted. And Aaron, still tired, still healing, felt something warm in his heart. He had survived the darkness. He had saved the planet that saved him. And now, both sides stood together. A message to the galaxy. Days later, a massive human communication satellite activated. Its signal spread across dozens of star systems. A clear, simple message. To all who hear this, Earth stands again. We protect our own. And we stand with those who show mercy. Valari is under our shield. Any attack on them is an attack on humanity. Across the galaxy, races listened. Some trembled. Some whispered in fear. Some whispered in hope. Because humans had returned. And they remembered every debt. A new beginning. Aaron stood on the cliff overlooking the village. Vexa joined him. You will leave soon? She asked. He nodded. My fleet needs me. But I will come back. You have a home here now, Vexa said softly. Aaron smiled. And you all have a home with us. Above them, a human ship slowly rose into the sky, engines glowing bright. A new alliance had begun. A friendship forged in battle. A promise of protection that would echo across the stars. And every being in the galaxy would soon learn. When you save a single human, Earth's entire heart answers.